Alright, so before I continue with the video, I just want to tell you that I'm a big procrastinator myself, and I have always and I still do sometimes struggle with getting in the work done for my school, whether it's an assignment, if it's getting preparation for the exams, anything like that. I still somewhat struggle with that, but here's how I beat it last year, and I scored above 90% for my annual board exams. So whenever you search this topic online on procrastination and how to beat it, everyone has their own method of solving it. Like some people just say that you just have to wake up early, get the hard things done at the like get the hard things done first thing in the morning, and then you can, do whatever you want for the rest of the day. And I don't think that's really good advice, because in this day and age, like, of course you can do that and maybe it works out for you, but the thing is, everybody is not the same, right? And for me, my personal problem is, like, in summers I have to share a room with my other siblings, and with those I can't really, schedule a proper bedtime, so I can't wake up early. And most of the kids these days are usually staying up late, scrolling on their phone and things like that, so it's not really worth it for them. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you one little hack that I use to beat procrastination on specifically studying, but you can apply it to anything that you want. All right, so with studying, I just have to convince myself on a reason to do it and do it now. These two things, right? So these days, with people like Andrew Tate and, even Iman Ghazi, Hamza, like these people, when they are popping off online, they are always saying like school is bullshit. You don't need that to make a lot of money. And that's the mindset that is indoctrinated in every young guy these days. So it makes even harder to, study and convince yourself to do or rather convince yourself that this is something useful and that I have to do it. It's hard to do that, and there's no problem in admitting that. But the thing is that I don't see studying as something that most people see studying like. Alright, so the thing with studying is that most people view it as something that their parents are forcing them to do, which is fine. But there are other people who want to become medical, doctors, or go into the biotechnology field, or they want to become a lawyer. For these people, studying has to be done. And the thing is, you have to understand why don't these people struggle with studying. Like, imagine a young guy who ambitiously wants to become any of those things, who ambitiously wants to become a doctor, or ambitiously wants to become like a huge lawyer, anything like that. Usually you'll find that these guys are at the top of their class and they never have problem with studying. Like, of course, when they're talking to their friends, they'll say things like, yeah, like, my thing is not also done, I haven't even started yet, bro, and this is shit like that, but they're already like on their third revision and they're most likely is the exam. So we have to understand that why don't these guys struggle with studying, and why are you struggling? And the reason is because they have a good enough reason to study, and convincing yourself that just because your parents are forcing you to do, that's not a good enough reason to, actually study. You have to realize that studying is something that has bought your freedom at the moment, because when you're young, most likely your parents don't care about anything other than studying. Like, if you're getting top grades in your class every time, your parents will be most likely happy with you, like, on average. And they most likely will, like, listen to whatever you have to say, or get you like the latest pair of Nikes or anything like that. But the thing is that they will be happy with you, and you will be able to basically be free as a teenager, which you probably aren't are if you have strict parents and you have to study for them. So again, my whole narrative is that if a person doesn't want to study, and how to study for that person. So I like to see studying as something, first of all, like, you can do it two ways, but the second one I'll get to later because it's not mostly applicable to people. But the first one is that you have to see study as something that has bought your freedom, and the more you do it, the more free teenager you are, and the more you have agency in your life to do the things that you really want to do, which can be anything, which can be playing games, start a new business, or even going to the gym, anything like that. You have to do studying in order to get that, right? So that is the basic thing. It is just like earning a lot of money when you're older, because when you're older, you don't have your parents as your, restriction of freedom, but you have other things. Then money becomes your restriction, and you have to earn a lot of money to buy that freedom. But right now, money isn't really your concern, because your parents are already covering that. So you have to convince yourself that the limiting factor for your freedom right now is studying, and you just have to get good grades to be as free as you want. And the thing is, like, once you have built that report of getting good grades, of like if you're getting good grades consistently for 2 years, for example, then parents don't even say you to do anything, right? They just leave you to do whatever you want to do, because they trust that you will get good grades regardless of whatever you're doing right now. And that is the case with me as well, because my parents don't say me to study anytime. Like, I can't remember any time in the past like 2 years they have told me to even open a book or anything like that. That is because I get good grades. And right now I'm like studying in a school that has I'm studying in a school with 100% scholarship, and the like average monthly fee of that school is like, in dollars it would be like $300 or something like that. But that is insane. That accomplishment I solely got because of my studying, nothing else. And what is worth even more than that is that I can play games whenever I want, I can stay as late as I want, I can skip classes even, and I can just tell my father that, they're saying bullshit and I don't have to take that particular class, as long as I get good grades in my study. So that, like, you need to understand how powerful that is. And for most of you, if you have strict parents, that might seem like a dream scenario to you, like, oh, your parents don't take your phone away from you, or you don't have a time limit for your PlayStation or anything like that. But the thing is, all of those things exist because you are not most likely bad at studying. I have never seen a student who gets really good grades all the time, is responsible, and his parents still being very strict on him on things like, getting your like playing video games till a certain amount, or playing out with your friends, anything like that. So you have to view studying as something that buys your freedom. And for me at least, this worked, because whenever I viewed it as that, I never really struggled with anything. And I, somewhat like, you can grit your teeth and just do the work or do the assignment and study for, timing, anything like that. And there are other rules that you can also follow, things like, putting up a timer, or just convincing yourself that, okay, I'll just do one question and then I can leave. That those things also work. But this mindset shift that there is, that studying buys your freedom, I don't think anybody else is talking about this, and this is really important, and might help people who are, first of all, lazy but ambitious as well. So, they rely mostly on their mindset for everything. So I think this mindset shift, for people like me at least, worked perfectly. And the other thing that I was talking about, like another way, is just like, you can become hyper competitive in studying, which sounds like a dorky thing to do. Like, you're a nerd, like you're competing for grades and things like that. But the thing is, if you are that type of person, that one who always has to win, who always needs to be better than the other person, then you have to, shut the excuses up. Like, you can say things like, okay, but I like beat that guy in basketball, or I can beat that guy up in a like fight because I do jujutsu or I do boxing, anything like that. Okay, but that's just one aspect of life. And people say that studying is boring and only like selected few can do it because of their, first of all, like intelligence, or it is like a dorky thing to do, that's why I don't want to do it. These are just excuses. Like, of course, if you've been doing something for, like, if you've been at the top of your grade for 5 years, and now you're saying things like that I'm not studying that much now because I used to be and I can do it, like I have proved that, and I'm just choosing not to, that's fine. But for other people who think like this, that I can do it if I wanted to, but I'm just not doing it out of my free will, and these guys are not like smarter than me or intelligent than me or anything like that. Now that's a interesting dynamic to look at, because you are literally saying that you don't want to do something which has nothing but only benefits in your life, right? And another thing that you can do is, if you're like a really competitive person, you can just associate marks with intelligence, which is not the case at all, like I can tell you, because marks are simply like reliant on your hard work, that's it. Now, of course, some people, like for the conceptual question, like if somebody has an higher IQ, of course they'll be able to understand question more easier than someone with a lower IQ. But the lower IQ can easily still like out compete that person in grades, because that's just how the grading system works in right now. I mean, A levels, it works like that. Like, you can just practice all the topicals and you're good to go. I don't know how university works exactly, but I'm sure there is something that a dumb guy can do to score more than an intelligent person, like that's period. But the thing is, if just for your sake, just to make it more competitive and give you a reason to study more, you can say that intelligence does equate to marks. And then you get like, then you like pamper yourself up that, okay, if I'm getting low marks, then that means that I'm less intelligent than that person, so I have to get good marks because nobody's smarter than me. So this is kind of a controversial way to look at it, because I don't think most of you will be able to relate with this, but you can relate to it if you're that type of person. So I've seen a lot of people, by the way, in this category, that just, for just competition purpose, they outscore the other guy, and that also gives them a reason to study. So the main focus of this video was that I give you something that is, first of all, different than whatever you see on the internet related to beating procrastination and getting good grades. Because like techniques to get good grades, there are a thousand. Like I'm not a scientist, I can't tell you like, okay, if you wake up and drink this amount of water, then your brain will be at maximum efficiency or things like that. But I want to give you something that is relatable for you, and that is from a fellow student as well. Like, you're not listening to some 40-year-old guru or 40-year-old like psychologist who's telling you like scientifically what works. Of course, you can look at those things after you have decided what to study, and how like you've started to put the hours in, and now you're trying to make it more efficient. You can do that by doing these things and the Pomodoro technique and everything like that. But the basic thing is that you have to start with yourself, and like all the techniques and everything comes after that. So I hope this video helped.